Hi guys, Jimmy here. I want to talk to you a little bit about a certain artist that I found on Facebook the other day. As usual, I'm always putzing around on the internet finding cool artwork that captures my eye, and photographers, different media artists just as well. And I find that everything is photoshopped to perfection and edited amazingly and composed perfectly, and that's just what I'm used to seeing. I'm sure everything that you see is digital and shiny and new, and that's what we think is good art these days, which it is. But man, I saw a link to a guy's website. His name was Chris Porsz, P-O-R-S-C, and this is a street photographer. We all love street photography on this channel, and I definitely am amazed by his work. In fact, I'm amazed with my amazement, because this is not the type of picture that I'm gravitating towards these days. I like the shiny, the really amazingly, composed. That's what I'm trying to emulate. Although I'll probably never get there, but his pictures are not like that. Here's the premise of his pictures and his book that's probably coming out very soon. He took pictures of all these subjects in England years ago, like 30 to 40 years ago. And these pictures are good, but what makes them even better is that he tracked all these people down. He probably didn't even track down all of them. There's just no way, but he tracked down so many down and retook those same pictures again. Now, is this idea original? I've seen this picture floating around on BuzzFeed where people comically reenacted pictures of way back when and from their youth. But this is just has a different feel to it because it is a professional photographer and not done for laughs. Although some of the pictures may be funny, they may bring a smile to your face. But it's just a fantastic premise, and he did it in a very artful way. I'm not sure if his intentions were to take the pictures 30 to 40 years ago and retake them in this present day, or recently in the recent years. But if he did, what an amazing scope of a project that is. I've never done anything for longer than more than a few years. To stick with something with such a large scope in mind it's daunting. It would probably stop me from even starting. And this person's doing just that. And the pictures really struck a chord with me. I think that's what makes art so amazing, is that one day a certain type will hit you right where the heart is, and sometimes, it's just not my thing. And for some person, it really affects them. Another person, I don't really get it. My 2-year-old brother can do that. They say that kind of thing at a museum. But I'm looking at these pictures, and I think because it's the antithesis of what I'm used to being drawn towards. I want the shiny, I want the new, I want the technologically advanced, but it's modest, it's real, it's gritty. Literally, the pictures are gritty, and it's not composed in a very obvious way. The composition isn't the time. The fact that they took the pictures 30 to 40 years ago and he retook them now in the same sort of similar format. If they had a dog back then, they got a different dog now, and similar clothing if they could find it, and different hairstyles because time has passed. And I think that's what it was, man. It's just I'm at a point in my life where I have a lot of life pressures right now, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate. No matter what stage of life you're in, we're all pressured by time, and sometimes we take that for granted. And by looking at these pictures, it made me think time is going. Time goes for everybody. It's just crazy to see it literally happening on between these two screens. I've seen pictures of people aging. I've seen pictures, this is me when I was a baby, this is what I am now, great. But for some reason, these have that impact for me. It shows time. It shows history. It shows the fragility of life. There was one moving picture you guys have to see of a person who was on the street, obviously, panhandling for money as he was playing a flute or something like that. And the very next picture is him still on the street, probably not playing the flute anymore. He looked a little down in his luck. I'm not sure if Chris found him on the street like that and then say, hey, weren't you that guy I took 30 to 40 years ago? I don't know. The story remains to be seen, or you can interpret it for yourself. But I think in the book, he goes over every story. And that's the whole point of photography, isn't it? To relay a story to the viewer, or let that person interpret their own story. A picture is not just a picture. A picture is a good picture, however it's edited, whatever camera it's taken, whatever lens it was expensive it was taken through, It should convey a story where you look at something and there's a strong narrative. Something's compelling, like, wow, how did the photographer do that? What did he use? And how did he get these people to sit there and do that? Street photography is very difficult, and this guy's mastered the art of making people feel comfortable with him because people are smiling in his pictures, in both sides for the most part. These pictures aren't terribly staged either. Maybe he did stage them, but they made it look so natural, and the relationships with each other just was so compelling to see, and you relate to that, like, oh, that's me and my friends, that's me and my family. This is where am I going to be in 30 to 40 years with my relationships that I find close now? Will this stick together? Will we stick together later in this period of time like they all have? I'm sure in the process of hunting these people down, there were probably a lot of people who had tragic stories where they couldn't get back together. And I'm sure that's explained in the book as well. I hope he does. If he doesn't, that's another story that we can interpret for ourselves. I don't know, I just wanted to talk about this and share this with you guys. Please check out the link below. I don't gain anything by talking about this in terms of from the artist. I don't know the artist, but I feel like I do a little bit. I can only interpret what I think in an artful way from his work, and his work has truly inspired me. Not that I want to copy it in terms of like do what he did, but emulate the honesty in his work. I could definitely use some more of that. And it's modest, it's humble, but it's striking. And he just did amazing work. So definitely check it out. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.